Congratulations for making it to my vote.
And I'm Maggie Topper. I guess my boss is social media. Alright, are all the judges on the timer? I love superhero movies. I love Batman and Superman and Captain America, but the Despicable Me series takes on a sort of new twist to the superhero genre, because the protagonist and really almost the hero that you're following is a super villain. And so today I'm going to be talking to you about the movie Despicable Me 2. And what I hope I clearly convey to you as we talk about this movie is that we can all be changed from villains to heroes. And to understand that, we're first going to look at what the Despicable Me series is about, and then next we'll take a look at some of the main themes and messages that are really portrayed throughout the movies, and then finally how those relate to some themes and messages that are really important to me. Now, as I said earlier, the Despicable Me series follows a supervillain, and his name is Gru. He's part of the Villain League, and he's all about carrying out nefarious plans to destroy the world and get everything that he wants, and he's very greedy and power-hungry. But then during the movies, in an attempt to carry out one of his new nefarious plans, he decides to steal 3 girls from an orphanage. But along the way, throughout the movie, these girls really melt his heart and make Gru realize that maybe there's more to life than just destroying other people's lives and getting what you want, because Gru really develops a lot of love and care for these 3 little girls. By the end of the movie, he adopts them and decides to turn from his evil, nefarious ways. And then in the second movie, Despicable Me 2, we watch as Gru is trying to handle this life of not being a villain anymore. And it presents many hardships because before, in his old life, everything was easy. He could do whatever he wanted. He didn't have to care about other people. And now he suddenly has to try to care about other people and do what is good. And it's a lot of a struggle for him. And then during the movie, he gets kidnapped by the Anti-Villain League, who want him to use his expertise to help them defeat another villain, El Macho. And so he really goes sort of through a conflict of what he's going to do about this villain and about what he's been proposed with. And one of the main themes, one of the very major themes we see is that of transformation. Because Gru goes through a very stark transformation. He goes from being an evil villain to somewhat of a hero. Well, really, definitely a hero by the end of the second movie. And so this is just a huge transformation that Gru goes through. And we watch the different hardships that come along with this transformation, but we also see that Gru is a whole lot happier once he's become this hero and this good person and decided to leave behind his evil ways, because these little girls just brighten his life like it has never been before, and he's full of happiness and excitement and just a little bit of comedy. But the second main theme that we see is that of love. Because ultimately, what transforms Gru, what the very climax of his transformation is the love that he has for these little girls and the love that they have for him. Because by caring about Gru, despite how ugly and evil and mean he is, the girls show Gru that he's not completely unlovable and that he does have some hope. And then by the love that he develops for them, he realizes that he does indeed have to take a really major risk and try to save the world, because he has to try to save the world for these 3 little girls that he loves and cares about. And so ultimately what the choice Gru makes at the end of Despicable Me 2 is that he is going to risk his life to fight against the most evil villain the world has ever known, El Macho, and use his expertise to try to save the world. And in the meantime, he does do that at the risk of his life. But he makes very clear that the reason he does it is because he loves these 3 little girls so very, very much. And so we see these 2 different messages, that of transformation from evil to good, and that of love being the ultimate reason for transformation. And these are really important to me because I am somewhat of a villain. I'm not quite as bad as Gru or some of the villains we see in the superhero movies, or even the evil people we hear about on the news that are murdering and shooting and beheading. I'm not maybe quite to that extent, but I am a villain because I have rebelled and sinned against the most holy and perfect and loving God of the universe. And as his creation, who was made to love him and serve him, I have constantly sinned against him and disrespected him and rebelled against him. And because of that, I am made a villain towards the greatest hero in the entire world. But the hope that I have, that I see illustrated in Despicable Me, and that I most vividly see in the Bible, is that I can be transformed from this villain into a hero, into a new person. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says that, behold, those who are in Christ are a new creation. The old has passed away, and the new has come. And so what I believe is that God sent his Son, who is the ultimate hero the universe has ever seen, because he sent his only Son to die for the sins of all these villains the world has ever known. And because of that, we can all be transformed into heroes like him. John 15:13 says that greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friend, which is what Gru illustrates. But Romans 5:8 tells us that God demonstrated his love in that while we were his enemies, he died for us. And so Jesus Christ is really the greatest hero we've ever seen. And we can be transformed by his love, just like Gru was transformed by the love of these little girls. And so we see a very important message illustrated, that all of us can be turned from villains into heroes. Thank you.